There is an arrest warrant out for the arrest of journalist Amy Goodman because she had the audacity to be a journalist. She was reporting on the Dakota Access pipeline and the Native Americans that have been protesting it. And as she was reporting on dogs being geared toward some of the protesters in a violent fashion, she got arrested for trespassing. Now, I want to show you guys the video that got her in trouble. It's still posted on their Facebook page. I highly recommend that you watch the full video. It has more than 13 million views at this point. But this is the portion that stood out to me the most. It showed the violence that the private security firms have used against the protesters. Take a look.
With that dog, I was like walking, throw the dog on me straight, even without any warning, you know? Look at this, look at this.
The dog,
yeah, the dog did it, you know? Look at this. There, so clean it.
Ma'am, your dog just bit this protester. Your dog bit that protester. Are you telling the dogs to bite the protester? The dog has blood in its nose and its mouth.
And she's still standing here threatening.
You can't put your blame on the dog. You're an evil woman. You can't put your blame on the protester.
That's mistreatment against your
You will live with that.
These people are just threatening all of us with these dogs. And that woman over there, she was charging him, and it bit somebody right in the face, and then it charged at me and tried to bite me, and they're still threatening these dogs against us, and we're not doing anything.
So let me just emphasize that there's an arrest warrant out for Amy Goodman. She is not in custody right now. We'll see how this plays out, but they're claiming that she trespassed, and that's the reason why there's a warrant out for her arrest. They also arrested Cody Hall, who is one of the founders or the coordinators of these protests. He was just recently released after being detained for 3 days behind bars.
So look, it's not that complicated. There's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. And back in the old days, the bad old days, the companies would hire the Pinkertons or others to come in, these thugs, to break up unions, to break up workers, and to assault anyone who stood in the way of their profits.
Yep.
And so here they are back again with dogs.
Yep.
That's insane. If someone is on private property and you have a court ruling to that effect, it's not like the cops in America are too genteel. It's not like you can't get the cops to remove people from private property. So, and that'll have its host of problems, but the protesters understand that, and they understand that that's part of what they're risking. But you can't have guys come in there with dogs and sick them on people and have them bite their face, and then arrest anyone who covers it.
Yeah.
Here we are, back in the bad old days.
I mean, let's just keep it real. They're specifically going after Amy Goodman and Democracy Now! Because of the reporting that they did and because of the exposure that that video got. Now, again, they're accusing her of entering private property to conduct interviews. Okay, so, you know, if someone trespasses onto private property, I mean, they're breaking the law, and she was willing to break that law in order to cover this story. And I actually think that's admirable more than anything. If I believed in the First Amendment and I wanted to support the First Amendment, I would say, hey, you know what? It's more important to have a journalist cover an important story involving protesters than to go after her as if she's some sort of criminal that deserves to be behind bars. So the Morton County Sheriff's Office accused the award-winning broadcast journalist after Democracy Now! Filmed security guards working for the Dakota Access pipeline using dogs and pepper spray on protesters. Keep in mind that these protesters are calm, they're peaceful, they're very much concerned with burial grounds getting destroyed as a result of the construction of this pipeline. They're worried about, you know, their land and their cultural heritage being under attack as a result of this pipeline. They're also worried about their drinking water getting contaminated as a result of the construction of this pipeline. So their concerns are completely legitimate, but who owns this country? It's the corporations. They get to do whatever the hell they want, regardless of who they harm.
So it reminds me of the meat industry, where if you actually tape anyone inside one of those plants where they're, you know, terminating the chickens, the cows, etc., that's now you're breaking the law by reporting on what they're doing.
Those are known as ag-gag laws.
Yeah, so we're now criminalizing the media. And it's in the First Amendment that we have freedom of the press, but we're not run by the Constitution anymore. It's not really a democracy anymore. So if you bought all the politicians and you bribed them through your campaign donations, and the Supreme Court says, no, you're just talking to them when you give them millions of dollars, that's just free speech. And it's not even an appearance of corruption when companies come and give big wads of cash to politicians, and the politicians say, all right, well, we'll just pass clearly, obviously unconstitutional laws. Get a load of what the Supreme Court did. They say corporations are human beings, insanity, and then they have freedom of speech to spend money bribing politicians, but you don't have freedom of the press to report on what those corporations are doing. So when Amy Goodman goes to report what the corporations are doing, well, we're going to find any violation we can to make sure we shut that up and make sure that she doesn't do that.
Yeah, and by the way, I want to be completely accurate when we're reporting this. There was some property, construction property, that was damaged as a result of these protests, okay? So Amy Goodman's not the one who damaged this property. The only crime that Amy Goodman committed was reporting on a story that's worth reporting, a story that's been ignored by the mainstream media, that doesn't get any airtime whatsoever, because these are the same, oil companies that, hey, are advertisers in the mainstream media as well. So it doesn't surprise me that this isn't getting any press attention. Amy Goodman is a badass, and I give her a tremendous amount of credit for what she did.
Yes, and so look, if at some point people deface property or destroy property, within the bounds of reason, you follow up and figure out who that was. You don't punish the people reporting on that story, and you allow people to protest because that is their core rights as an American. If there is a violation of the law and at some point you have to move people from somewhere, we understand. You don't do it with dogs, and then you don't arrest everyone in the area. So that's not how it works. That's only how it works when you're not a government of the people, by the people, for the people. You're a government of the corporations and for the corporations. So Amy Goodman is looking into her rights. She's got the Center for Constitutional Rights apparently advising her now. So we wish her the best of luck. And by the way, we also have some great coverage from Jordan Chariton on this at TYT Politics. So youtube.com/TYT Politics. We've been covering this protest from the very beginning. And I think the Young Turks and Democracy Now! Are the only ones who actually showed up with cameras. So great job by Amy Goodman, and we got her back. Together we can change the media, make it more representative of you and not the powerful. Come join us, make a difference. TYTnetwork.com/join.